Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this hearing. Of the number of bills that are on the agenda, 3 of them are mine, and I'm glad to say that the VA is in support of 2 of them with requests for more time for the third one. So these are the RepVA Act, VetAct Act, which VA supports, and the Veterans Fraud Reimbursement Act, which the VA says it needs more time to review, even though the VA did testify in support of this act in a House subcommittee. The thing is, Mr. Chairman, that we can have all of these bills, but if the VA doesn't have the manpower, does not have the personnel to implement the various bills that we pass, what are we doing here? And so I share the Vice Chair's concerns about what is going on with the VA. Now, we know that federal employees are being fired across the board in every department, not just in VA. Thousands of federal employees are being fired, 2,400 being fired from VA. Mr. Engelbaum, were these initial firings based on any kind of an analysis of competence? Any performance analysis that led to the firing of 2,400 people from the VA?
Senator, I can't talk to specifics on the actual analysis. One, as I mentioned earlier on, that it's subject of litigation right now.
Excuse me.
And then secondly,
you know, everybody knows that these firings were across the board, and of course it's going to lead to litigation. Do not use litigation as an excuse for coming to tell us that you can't talk about it. These were across-the-board firings of people on probationary status. It impacted not just the VA, and by the way, another 80,000 plus will be getting fired. And yes, it will. Those will lead to more litigation. President Trump issued something like 26 executive orders on day one of his administration. I would say that there were probably lawsuits filed as to every single one of these, as expected, because many of these EOs were totally illegal, but we have an administration that doesn't give a rip about the rule of law. So do not come here and tell us that you can't talk about what the basis of these firings were. I think the fact of the matter is that they were across the board. I don't know how the VA is supposed to do its job when, on the one hand, it is firing by the time you're through, the administration is through some 90, 85,000 people from the VA, and at the same time, you're trying to hire some 300,000. So on the one hand, you're letting go all these people, not based on any performance analysis, and on the other, you're trying to hire 300,000 or so people. I mean, who would want to work for any of our agencies with all this chaos going on? So, Mr. Chairman, much as I support the legislation that we have, I really wonder what is this exercise that we're undergoing here, where many of these bills, including the 3 that I introduced, all in a bipartisan way. And as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the few committees where we are able to get things done in a bipartisan way. And so I would be very supportive, except that we have an administration that doesn't seem to have its controls, hands on the levels of control, because we have an administration that is continuing to sow chaos, and litigation abounds. There are about 70 lawsuits that are ongoing, and numerous judges are saying to the administration, you can't do that, and we have to have hearings on whether or not this administration intends to even follow court orders. So, Mr. Chairman.